Hello and welcome to Common Sense TV. I'm your host, the Doctor of Common Sense. I got a crazy theory for you. I think I may have figured out, especially since President Trump was elected to office. So since 2016, when he took office, 2017, I believe that the Democrats want to destroy this economy now, wants to destroy America and weaken America now more than ever. Here's the reason. Notice that President Trump's negotiation tactics is to threaten, whether it be China, the UK, the EU, whatever, India. He threatens them with tariffs. He's threatening India now with 50% tariffs. He's threatened China and the EU, saying you won't have access to all the purchasing power of the United States if you don't release and get those tariffs off of us that you have on us. Let's be equal on this. See, the negotiating tool does not work if your economy is not strong. If you have a weak economy, if you're depending on China for everything, if you're depending on Russia for oil, threatening a country when you have nothing to back it up or any ways to punish them does not work. If your economy is not strong, if you don't have the military capability when you threaten to put force on somebody, if you can't do it. So the whole reason that the left, because they are globalists, and they have the same agenda as the WEF, they have the same agenda as the New World Order, the globalists, whoever you want to name. There's a bunch of people in office right now. Realize that if they don't weaken America, the other countries can't threaten us. See, once we become weak and have to depend on other countries, once we become weak with our economy, then we don't have real negotiating tools. The reason those negotiating tools work is you got to have a strong economy. You got to have a strong military. Barack Obama tried to weaken the military. Joe Biden tried to weaken the military. That withdrawal from Afghanistan was one of the most pathetic things I've ever seen. See, when countries start thinking that you're that weak, Taliban is doing whatever they want to do since we left them all those weapons over there. Notice that the media wasn't upset about that, but they're infatuated with President Trump meeting with Vladimir Putin. They're going to start saying that, oh, he's a puppet for Vladimir Putin. Next thing they'll be saying he was selling snow cones for Vladimir Putin. He gave Vladimir Putin half of Alaska. Because this is just a tactic for them to stop the negotiations, so they got to try to insult President Trump's ego because he has a big one. And if they can do that, they can stop him from doing certain things. Because that's the end goal, to weaken us so he won't have any negotiating tools. He's not going to be able to negotiate if we are weak, if our economy is weak, if we're depending to get parts from China, if we don't bring manufacturing jobs back, because both Republicans and Democrats have completely gave over and made us be nothing but consumers. We weren't manufacturing anything any longer, and that's what the globalists want. They want to be able to tell you where to live, what car to drive, what to eat, everything about it, what dishwasher, what stove you can have in your house. They want to do all this for you, and the only way they can do that is to make you weaker and become part of the, quote, international community. Notice that they're more concerned with the international community than they are concerned with those things that the American people want. They're upset now because they're saying that technically they're saying President Trump is trying to make D.C. safer. They're acting like they're concerned about the red states or the other states that's worse. Why wouldn't you want your capital to be stronger? You said the crime came down. So what? Shouldn't you want your crime to come down even more? Who would be offended about that? A globalist, a communist, those who want to see America fail. So my theory is the reason that they've tried so hard to weaken our economy, to weaken our military, is because we'll lose all negotiating tools. If President Trump was the president of, just say, Sudan, these methods that he's using for tariffs would not work. If he was the president of Mexico, Zimbabwe, none of these tactics would work. But he's the president of the greatest country on planet Earth, and therefore the left wants to globalize us. They're upset with the way we do things, but they won't leave the country because they're like a virus. The virus must get inside of you in order to infect you. And we have a bunch of viruses in D.C., in the Senate, in Congress, in the Supreme Court, in all the court systems. We got a bunch of viruses that need to be removed. So that's my theory. You tell me what you think about it below in the comment section.